Engineering, 'tis a big topic right now, but the lesser known part of engineering are the subcomponents that were supposed to be inside the components to create more depth in the gameplay. We've covered this a couple times now. Over the past week, we actually had a video just in general about engineering in depth, where we covered subcomponents. But I can pull up the video of them real quick because they're an interesting thing. And ultimately, the idea behind them was that they would take on damage to distribute the damage from the rest of your components. In fact, engineering design document, because we got some confirmation now that what's going to happen with these subcomponents going forward from the folks working on engineering. So first we check this out. This is where they originally started. Subcomponents were providing additional benefits to the component they were attached to, allowing for further customization of a player's ship. A couple of these are in the game. The power conduit, I feel, is basically just the fuse, and it controls power efficiency throughout your ship. The coolant rod would have been a cool one to be in the coolers, but that one's not in there. The only other one that's really there is the life support. But the idea behind them would basically be that the damage would be transferred from the point of impact of a gun in the hull to the closest system and weapon components. And then those components would distribute their damage down into the subcomponents inside of them. So somebody was asking about this. Just a little reminder, this is what they looked like. This is what they were saying about them.
And aside each one, you'll see a destroyed state. The idea is that over time, these become worn and eventually destroyed. Hence why you need to replace them. So each one has its own broken variant. You'll see,
and then you can see them inside the power plant right here.
Sub-items are quite dense and complex in design, especially when compared to the exteriors. Another thing that's quite important to us is brand identity. So other than the obvious decals with logos on littered about, we want the forms to describe the manufacturer. So in this Aegis one, you've got a lot of flowing shapes, a lot of double chamfers, quite sophisticated, where in contrast.
And then here they have the AI that was actually being worked on to, I mean, you could say this was quote unquote NPC crew work. It's probably more Squadron 42 kind of stuff, but the idea here was that the AI were being taught at least their animations, maybe not the logic, but the animations behind coming over to a component, ripping out the subplant or the subcomponent, inspecting it, possibly replacing it, and then closing the thing down and moving away. So this was certainly part of their plan for quite a while. That video was as recent as, when did we grab that? 2021, possibly. Yeah, I think 2021. So relatively recent. Now, there was a question asked in the engineering gameplay feedback thread, but the way that they do these forums, it's really hard to tell what the original question was. Maybe here we go. Okay, so let's listen to what one of the crafting devs, one of the people working on, maybe not crafting, engineering, has to say about subcomponents. So Seraph asked, clearly you're all working towards a long-term plan and implementing interim systems that bridge the gap in the meantime. Good to know the long-term still lines up with what was said in the past. In this regard, I have a simple question for you, if you don't mind. Are sub-items, aka subcomponents, whether they're the items found within the major ship components, or perhaps the random little parts we can find a lot in the loot pool of Pyro, for example, will there eventually be more of a tinkering mechanic with engineering where we actually have to fix or replace specific parts with things like power plants and coolers? Savrals replied, he said, to answer your question, we do not have a plan to go as granular for all components. Clarifies, we do already have subcomponents as in the life support generator, which are the filters. Our intent, as stated in some of our more recent interviews or videos, we focus to build a solid basis before we go more in depth with all we already got. Once we have a good foundation and we are happy enough with it, we will start looking into all the things we tried out in the past. To be honest here, some of those past ideas might not stand the test of time, so some things we thought might be good in the past might be replaced with better solutions. Our intention is once we have all the base functionality for engineering working, we will investigate further and communicate to all of you what and how we will expand the feature. Once we are back in the new year, next year, I will hopefully be able to provide some more information on the plans for engineering in 2026. Right now, we are still busy improving the balance of what we have in 4.5. Cheers. It sounds like they are very much doing this by ear. Rather than saying that they're going to just automatically go all the way with this design that they've set out. It seems like they are slowly implementing it until they can feel like there's enough interesting gameplay, enough resistance, enough friction, enough opportunity to create variation in what people are experiencing without being too heavy-handed. It's all probably going to depend on feedback. We'll see how far they go, but I kind of think that the subcomponents themselves are going to be more limited than we originally were hoping, and even more so than they were kind of showing us in these videos back in the day. And that's fine because there are a lot of other things that will be included in it, but they do need to make sure that this is gameplay that still is interesting enough that people can do this for good and make good money doing it. Again, it also has to be difficult or maybe even kind of annoying enough that other people don't want to do it and therefore are hiring other people to do it. It's like this whole weird thing. But we'll see where they go with it. This is just a little update on these subcomponents and what's going to happen with them. I would definitely suggest keeping an eye on engineering if it's something that you feel strongly about. Give feedback in this year and next year as we keep going. Clearly, they're listening to it and responding to it, and I think they're trying not to step on too many toes while still implementing probably one of the most important features in the game. Good luck, CIG.